2008. I get up and I don't go to bed. In fact, I stay up all night so I can get up early enough to get the mail. Because my mother, there's something is really wrong. I know something's wrong. I've now been living with her for 2 years and she won't tell me what's wrong. And I found out that she was in debt and in abject poverty, and she was borrowing from every charge account on the planet, including the Chase Manhattan Bank. Well, I went to a lawyer, David Innes, who used to be my father's lawyer, and he was a wonderful religious man, don't get me wrong, but because he was my father's lawyer, that was another mistake I made. But my mother wouldn't listen to anybody, she's addicted to men, other than my father's lawyer. I mean, my father's a maniac who tried to kill her, and yet she's insisting on using his lawyer. Like, see, that was the psychotic behavior of my mother. And she would not budge. So I sold. My brother squatted on the property with his family. I tried to get my brother to help because he was the executor of my father's estate. He wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't tell me anything. And I'm the executor of my mother's, but she's alive. So, I mean, there's only so much that I can do. And yeah, I've got power of attorney, but I didn't want to go so far as to have her declared insane. Because she wasn't particularly sane, but she wasn't completely insane. Or maybe she was. I don't know. Hard to say. She was like a child, addicted to men. Whatever my brother wanted, he got. Whatever my father wanted, he got. Whatever Luigi wanted, he got. I mean, that's just who she was. Whatever the doctor wanted her to do, even though she knew that she was allergic to the drug, she would take it. Anyway, with the help of the police, again, I contacted the Sergeant Lake in Wasaga Beach and told him my brother was squatting on the property that he does not own, and I had the will. My brother did not probate the will. I did. It was up to me to do that because he wouldn't do it. So I had title on the Wasaga property transferred into both my mother's and my name so that I could take control. And I had him evicted, and I sold it for way below market value. But 2008, it was right after the crash. 2007, a man came to me and offered me $800,000 for my parents' apartment building, 11 units. I could have gotten $500,000 for the duplex. I mean, we could have gotten $1.5 million easy or more. But it crashed, and my brother was completely uncooperative, and I couldn't get any help. And I'm bucking my mother too, and I'm with my father's lawyer, and he's only allowed to tell me so much, which wasn't much. Whatever he could do for me, he did for me. He helped me sell the property. That was, and he kept. He helped me pay off all my mother's bills. I wanted it on record in his accounting department of the bills that I paid for my mother. She was over $88,000 in debt, and I dumped her car. I sent it to the junk. I mean, she was driving a car that was not safe, and I bought her a new car. And she owed me over $40,000 for my savings that she had taken, and without my knowledge, and put it into RSVPs. Well, I'd already paid tax on that money, and here she is making me pay tax all over again. I mean, this is the sort of thing that my mother did. Anyway, I took back my $40,000 and I put it in a savings account because I knew that whatever money she had, she'd blow on the family, which she did, believe me. One day I found a bill or like a receipt. She sent Darren, my brother's son, $10,000 while he was squatting at Wasaga Beach, paying no rent and not bothering to work. Why should he? And she sends him $10,000. I mean, you know, that was my money. She didn't have any money. Anyway, that was my mother. So I sold it and I paid off all the debts, and I gave her what I felt she needed, and opened up a joint account with her. And I made sure that the manager knew. I had a letter from the lawyer. She was not allowed credit. And I wrote to all the credit companies and I canceled her credit cards because she really was not, she couldn't be trusted. She simply couldn't be trusted. She would do something stupid. That's just the way it is. Now I'm just going to stop here a little bit. Here's a picture of me on the swings when I can't walk. Dan McIsaac, my partner of on and off 34 years, who's been taking care of me ever since I went into catatonic shock in 1985, and that's he's taken me off the streets when I was homeless more than once, and he takes me to Moonlight Beach to the swings. And here's belly dancing. I did a belly dance performance for the Legion on one of my good days. And even though I was sick, I still managed to have a great body, didn't I? Yeah. Didn't do me much good, but I was gorgeous. And this is 2009. Dan is 200 pounds and I'm 125. Well, he'd gone back out drinking and he got really bloated. And then I had a good year, 2010. No question about it. I made front page of the Sturgeon Falls Fiddler's Dance. All of these pictures are on Facebook if you're interested. And then that's me. 1 minute I'm dancing, the next minute I'm on crutches or I'm on a cane and I can't dance. But I made the outfits for my mother. I bought her outfits. Fashion is something that we're definitely both addicted to, and I like to design clothes, and I would coordinate our clothes and make her look beautiful. And this was the best year of my life, 2013. It was, without a doubt, the most amazing year I cannot describe. What had happened is that, I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but I got a call from a man in Washington, and he said to me, "My God, are you still eating Canadian food?" I said, "Well, I'm in Canada." He said, "I'm so sorry. I should have known. I should have told you. It just never occurred to me. I don't know why it didn't occur to me." He was really upset. He said, "Trudy, you have no right to know legislation in Canada. Everything you eat that's in a package in Canada has got canola oil in it, and it's not on the package. You have to boycott Canadian food." Well, he told me that in 2005, but I want you to know that with the damage that was done to me, I had that 6 months on the farm, but my mother kept poisoning me without me knowing it. She would buy a beverage that was supposed to be organic, and then she would turn around and buy something cheaper, and it would look the same, and she would put it in a different container. So I didn't know. I can't tell you how many times she poisoned me. I finally reached the point at the age of 70 that I said, that's it. She would talk me into going to the Legion and eating something, and I would get sick. She would talk me into going to visit somebody, and I would get sick eating. And I said, that's it. No more restaurants, no more other people's food, no more eating at the Legion, no more eating your food, Mother. It's it, I'm done. I am eating only everything that I bought and paid for myself. And you can eat what you want. I don't mind cooking for you, although I'm not a great cook. But I said, no more of you cooking for me because you keep poisoning me. that beverage, let me tell you, it had tanneric acid in it. And oh my God, I thought I was going to die. I mean, the very fact that I kept coming out of these attacks. Do you know that I have a cousin who was 9 years old? His name is Regine. He took one attack. They took him to the hospital. They gave him antibiotics, and he was found dead on the bedroom floor the next day. One attack. I know a woman, a neighbor, beautiful lady. She was our cosmetic lady. One attack, and she died. And I have been in and out of these attacks since I am 6 years old. And that's OKRA. Now, what I don't say in this article is that it's a nature's natural amphetamine. Because, as I've said to you before, I've been dealing with an awful lot of Holocaust, insanity, cruelty, brutality, torture. And I have a hard time putting everything together. But I do know it's high in vitamin A, calcium, protein, B vitamins, and amino acids. But the miracle of okra is it has to be eaten raw. And I say frozen because it's safer. Now, the fact that I look gorgeous living with dying is besides the point. And so did my mother. Take a good look. That's Mom, 70. Now she's 93 years old and still dancing. And this is after that seizure and everything. And she's doing really well. And she would have lived to 110 if she didn't keep going behind my back and taking drugs without my knowledge. And here I am skiing. Oh God, I was so gorgeous. I was so happy. I climbed 2,000 feet up on Capriol Mountain. That's right. I climbed 2,000 feet up on Capriol Mountain. Is that amazing? I think it's amazing. Too amazing for words. And it's just too bad that it only lasted 1 year. Yep. I had one perfect year in my life. 1 year. I've had many wonderful moments, like the 5 days in New York and dancing at Club 54, whatever it's called, in New York with my executives from Gulf Oil, and being a bunny girl at the Royal York and meeting Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah, I've had moments, I admit, wonderful moments. Oops, sorry. I get so excited. Oh, sorry. Forgive me, people. Not perfect. I'm not a professional. And this is my cute little pink... okay, come on. I'm having trouble here. Okay, come on. Why do you jump so much? Oh, I have such a hard time with this. I'm telling you. I don't know. It's close enough. Anyway, that's at a dance, and see how I would coordinate, and I'd put an outfit together, and I bought Dan's shirts so he would match me. Yeah, I'm a match freak. And this is one of my favorite all-time favorites. I made the pants. I wear a lot of bathing suit tops because I'm heat sensitive, and I like to wear bathing, and that's pretty much what I wear when I go skiing. And this is at a beaver pond out in Laurentian Conservation Area. Now, an interesting thing about this conservation area, because I am the kind of person I am, I love the outdoors. And if things had been different and Bob had lived, I would have wanted to be on a farm and had a dozen kids and dogs and cats and a cow and a big garden and all of that. Yeah, I kind of had that in my blood from my grandparents, I guess. So I spent a lot of time in parks, Muskoka parks, Wasaga parks, you name it, everywhere. Been to Vermont skiing. I stopped in parks in Alberta. I went to a big park in Lake Winnipeg. Point is, I didn't do a lot of traveling, but I did some over the years. This park is in Sudbury District. It's the only park I've ever been in that I don't see any animals, I don't see any birds, I don't see any chipmunks, and I don't see any squirrels. It's like walking through a dead forest for 10 miles. Now, I can't figure that out because the super stack supposedly takes away a lot of the pollution and the sulfuric acid that turned our land black like Mars or the moon. Actually, it was more like the moon. And trees are growing and gardens are growing and things are growing, but there's no wildlife. And yet we've got bears galore. Well, that's because they stopped shooting the bears. I think bear meat's delicious myself. Moose by far is my most favorite. And the interesting thing about moose meat is that's what the farmer fed me, and it really got me well. There's something in the moose meat. Moose are too big. You couldn't really cultivate them on a farm, I don't think. But there is something about the moose that is completely different from any other meat. And it's the only meat that never makes me sick and actually makes me really well. Otherwise, I have trouble. So I pretty much stick to chicken. Organic, of course, when I can. And if I can't, I get President's Choice or one of the others, as long as it's fed no antibiotics. And that's me skiing. Yeah. Oh, God, I was so happy. I was so gorgeous. Climbing 2,000 feet up on Capriol Mountain on cross-country skis at 72. And it only took me 2 years of boycotting Canadian food. And there I am swimming. Not bad for 72, eh? I thought I looked pretty good. Oh, and that's where I met the little boy with autism. Oh, he was so brilliant, so gorgeous, and so beautiful. Wherever he is, God bless you, child. I pray to God you become a doctor for people like me. I then finished the OKRA Diet for All. That's a finished website. It has all the research, all the evidence, the documented evidence on canola being poisonous, the documented evidence on the various diets for disease control, including one special for seniors that kept my mother dancing, even though she has osteoporosis and Paget disease. And it kept her. I worked in cooperation with a specialist, and all that's on my website. I'm not going to go into that. Everything is also on Facebook. I've uploaded everything that all the research, what's important. And here's where my mother took a heart attack. We got a public notice of auction. My brother had somehow put his name on title to all our properties, including the matrimonial home, without our knowledge, in secret, because that's legal in Canada, didn't pay the taxes, and as a registered owner, we weren't notified, in secret, that's legal in Canada, committed fraud, income tax fraud, declared to the government that my mother got half the money, and I have proof. Took me 4 years to get the proof and $2,000, but the point is I got the proof. I went to the police begging them for help in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. I wrote letters all over Ontario to members of Parliament and to the Premier. I begged for help and was refused. That's legal in Canada. Now, Davis Innes, my lawyer, once we got this public auction, I got another lawyer because he said to me, "You'll have to get another lawyer now." And my mother was no longer in a position to argue with me. We were going to be evicted from our home. In a public auction, it would go for 10 cents on the dollar. Not a joke. And I got struck down with a tumor the same month. How's that for luck? On my right leg. Did sciatic nerve damage and I was a paraplegic. Now for the first time, I moved in with Dan and I had to stay with him because, well, I'd stay with him once in a while, but I never actually lived with him. I liked having my own space. And I'm a night person. I'm up all night and he sleeps all night. He's in bed, ready for bed by 7:30, and I'm up until 7:30 in the morning. So, as much as I love him dearly and he cares and loves me, there's many issues with, he gambles and I hate gambling. And anyway, I didn't have a choice. The nerve damage was so excruciating, I was in ice packs. I was back and forth to emerge, and Dr. Boudreau was really quite wonderful and sent me to a cancer specialist. And I'll say one thing. I don't even remember her name. But here's a doctor, for the first time in my life, a woman doctor, who didn't treat me badly and wasn't mean to me. In fact, she admitted she couldn't read the MRI and didn't know what it was, and therefore she was not going to do a biopsy because she was afraid that she could do me harm. Well, God bless you, lady, because you later, a friend of mine helped me with exercise, and I got the tumor. I actually, through exercise, got the tumor moved off the sciatic nerve. But now I had so much nerve damage, it set me back 30 years. And I had to start all over again. Yeah. Welcome to my world. I had to start all over again. And I'm fighting with grocery stores to carry OKRA because I can't afford to go without it for very long. Well, I don't know who it was, but somebody contacted one of the store owners at Verab, and he brought it in, and he kept it in for a couple of years. And Mr. Dumas wouldn't, and Food Basic used to, and then they quit and wouldn't, and then Metro did, and then they quit and wouldn't. So I kept running into this all the time, right? So here I am. We're going to be evicted. We're going to lose we're going to lose $1 million. There's no question about it. Nothing I could do. I had to find a buyer because my brother wouldn't cooperate to get a real estate agent. He wouldn't cooperate with anything. So when the property taxes were only $30,000 in arrears, they suddenly became $40,000 and $50,000 and $75,000 in arrears. And I mean, it escalated. I want to tell you, taxes, there's something crooked about the way they operate because it doubled so fast, make your head spin. My mother took a heart attack. She was going to die. She put her head, when I explained to her what my brother had done, and all these years she wouldn't believe me. I kept telling her that I knew that he was committing fraud, but I couldn't prove it. But she wouldn't let me do anything about it because she didn't believe me. And anyway, I had no evidence. I just had this feeling. She put her little head down, 95 years old, found out that in secret my father had severed the joint tenancy on the matrimonial home. Well, you can't get a divorce in secret, can you? But in Canada, you can sever the joint tenancy on the matrimonial home in secret and rob your spouse of their right to inherit the home. And at 95 years old, she finds out what my father did to her and what her beloved son did to her. And she put her little head down on the table and she said, how could Frank do this to me? He's trying to kill me. He wants me dead. I said, Mother, he's not going to get more money if you're dead. He didn't do it for that reason. He's just some kind of sadistic, dirty, psychotic maniac, because in fact what he's done, he could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars more if he'd have cooperated with me. I'm brilliant at real estate. But no, he did it so he could hurt her. He did it because my father enjoyed hurting her, and he enjoyed hurting her, and he liked being a thief. It was just stupid, sadistic, and evil, but legal. Welcome to Canada. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Then because I was terminal and I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk, Dan was frantic, didn't know what to do. We talked to his son David many times, who had worked for Doug McIsaac, who owned 30 properties. But David didn't have anything to say to me or us. So Dan called Doug for help. We were desperate. I couldn't negotiate with the lawyer. I couldn't do the negotiations on the sale. I couldn't walk. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. I was completely helpless. And do you know what Doug did? That bastard. He took a dying woman, my mother, and a severely handicapped terminal woman, me, to the cleaners. He tricked me, and he tricked my mother, and he stole over $300,000 from us. And I wound up with nothing. My lawyer cost me $70,000, lied to me, used me, tricked me, and conned me. And I worshipped him like you will. I cannot describe to you how I felt about Trent Faldine. I worshipped the ground he walked on. I believed him. He was going to file an affidavit and get the law changed. And he put me through hell researching Canadian law in all the provinces, in case histories going back 100 years, because I'm a speed reader. And even sick, I can still do that. You see, I've got that funny thing in my brain. Hypnogenetic imagery analysis, it's called. But he put me through 3 years of hell doing that. And when I ran out of money, he fired me. He lied and said that I was disrespectful. How in hell could I be disrespectful? I'm living with dying, and this schmuck calls me disrespectful. Well, I fought him, and all I got out of it from the legal college was nothing. They were mean to me. Now, I created another website, and I put all that out on a different website. And all during this period, Dan is not only taking care of me, now he's taking care of my mother. And he's running back and forth from one end of town to the other, getting supplies, getting groceries, getting prescriptions, taking her to the doctor, going back and forth to the hospital. She's in and out. What a nightmare. And I'm on canes. And if I get down on the floor, you see, that's why I had to live with Dan now full time. If I get down on the floor, I can't get up. He has to carry me. And he takes me to the swings, I would be on the swing 10 minutes, and I would go into pain and shock and take an attack. But he would drive across town to Moonlight Beach to get me on the swing for 10 minutes. Anything to get me fresh air, anything to get me to my feet. Because now it's not my diet. I'm on 100% not Canadian organic diet. No, that's my lovely new mask. that the MSA sent me. I got that one in 2015. I was having so much trouble, and I got talking to somebody, and they said they had a lighter mask. So I contacted them in Pittsburgh, and they sent it up to me. And, you know, again, I campaigned, and I tried to get media publicity, but now they boycotted me. I still can't get any help from the media. Whatever my father said to those editors, I don't know, but they have boycotted me ever since. And there's my mother, shortly before she died. Her final death would come because of clindamycin, an antibiotic that she took behind my back. You want that story? Look up clindamycin on YouTube. It's there. Instead of a funeral, I gave her a celebration of life. February 7th, she was born in 1919. She died February 18, 2017. I got permission from the Sudbury Star to use their picture. They had taken a picture of my mother and I dancing. It wasn't a story about me or my research or anything. It was a story about a legion and a dance they had. I think that was in 2002. But anyway, yeah, that's the situation. It's really hard to look back on those years. Really hard. Yeah, I had one perfect year. And then I went down a hill and I shit in a handcart. The 5 years in a futile lawsuit battle, contacting every member of parliament, lawyers, and media coast to coast. 80% of my time I'm crippled, in pain, and in bed. OKRA kept my brain functional, but I just couldn't get my legs back to where they were in 2013. Len Voisey finished for me my first website to make sure it was on the internet. I had taken a heart attack from lack of water. But it didn't do me any heart damage. I was lucky. Caught it in time. But Dr. Butcher gave me heck, and he said, listen, even a shot glass every 5 hours is better than nothing. Yes, it was all for nothing. I worked day and night despite the pain. I put it up on YouTube and Facebook and as much of the research as I could for the future of the children. I created 4 websites, but they die when I die, as you see, so I had to find a way to make it permanent. Yes, OKRA is nature's natural amphetamine if eaten raw. Similar to vitamin C in fruit, exposure to the air for any length of time, it loses its power. Cooked okra does not work. The chemistry that increases brain powerful memory, rejuvenating and growing new brain cells, controlling crippling, paralyzing attacks. Well, the only way, whoops, sorry, did it again. I wanted to get, oh, I can't find it. Okay, just a minute, I'm going to have to move this here. I want to just show you something, and come on. Oh, this is so hard. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, God. Oh, here it is. Okay. Take me a minute. Just be patient, people. Well, I don't know why it's taking so long. It's just a teeny weeny article. Gee whiz. Oh, sometimes. I swear to God, Apple's getting as bad as Microsoft. Finally, okay. Okay, this is what okay, can I get it over here? Oh my God. Okay. This is the best article that was written up in the Globe and Mail. I tried to show it to you before, but I couldn't get it. I created a media collage, and it's all over the internet, and it's on my Facebook. So I just wanted you to see what to look for. It really is a good article. Now, why it didn't make national media, I don't know, because it was great. And it was done by the Sun tabloid in Florida. The thing is that, ouch, there goes my tumor, ouch, ouch. Yes, I've still got it. It's off the sciatic nerve, but every now and then it's getting bigger and it's going to kill me. It's a parasitical fat cell tumor feeding off a main artery, and if they had done a biopsy, I would have bled out in 10 seconds and died. So, yeah, such is my luck to get the tumor. But even that, I managed to survive. I received so much help. Like Dr. Jaffe from the National Institute of Drug Abuse calling me to help me, and all those American scientists, just unbelievable. But once I was back in Sudbury permanently, I said, well, bloom where I am planted. There's no way I could leave my mother. And sometimes it's not that I didn't want to rescue her. It's that I know that it was a mistake. I should have done it from Wasaga Beach legally. I shouldn't have moved in with her. It wasn't safe for me to live with her. She was too crazy. She sort of walked around in the twilight zone. She wasn't actually insane. She just would not accept that her beautiful daughter could have anything wrong with her. She just wouldn't believe it. Like everybody else could have something wrong with them, but she would not believe that there was anything wrong with me. And she treated me like there was nothing wrong with me. And she'd feed me shit, and she just wouldn't pay any attention. And then when she had a boyfriend, she'd leave me paralyzed, and I'd be there with no food. But I didn't need her, to tell you the truth, because Alan for 10 years took care of me. He's a food addict. He was like 500 pounds, but oh, he could move across that floor like a swan. Could he dance? I had some great, wonderful memories. But I haven't got time to go into that because that's not what is important. That's my memories. That's my joy, my moments here and there. Dan always said, you know how to hang on to the moments. And sometimes when we're dancing, I put my head on his shoulder because I'm tired. And everybody thinks it's because I'm in love with him. Well, I'm not going to go into that. But the truth is that I'm tired. And his chemistry makes me feel better. So if I put my head on his shoulder and I get really close and I just dance slowly, I start to feel better. When I first started doing that to him 34 years ago, tell you a funny story about that. He said, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." "Yes, you are." "No, I'm not." "I know what you're doing, and you stop it right now." I said, "But it makes me feel good." "Well, all right, but I want you to know that you're using my body." Using my body. And it's true. I was. And Tom had the same chemistry. And Alan had the same chemistry. I mean, this is just chemicals, chemistry. And when Tom would hold me and rock me and put his hand on my cheeks and my face and rub my head, you want to know something? the pain went down. It didn't completely go away, but it got bearable, and it made me feel good. So, you know, yeah, I have some lovely moments. But every day I step outside, I risk my life. All that stands between me and death is a gas mask, raw okra, garlic pills, and a few health supplements daily. And we're in jeopardy of losing that right because Health Canada is trying to take it away from us. The only joy I have ever had in Sudbury is mainly in the winter, because spring and summer really make me sick. The cold helps me. And I can cross-country ski on the flat even though I'm no longer able to climb. Walden this year and last year. I didn't have a lot of joyful days, believe me. 80% of my year is spent in bed, crippled. But the 1 hour that I get out at Walden or Cape Real, I'm in paradise, brief though it may be. Every day I step outside, I risk my life. I do it because I know that no matter who believes me or not, it is God's will that I somehow get the message out that raw okra will save the lives of children who are poor, whose parents work in toxic environments and are poisoned like me. The cost of this disease is in the trillions. The cure, of course, is prevention. The salvation of our species depends on a simple little herb, and it's okra. Canola oil happened to be one of the main causes of my disease, but it is not the only cause, for Fred Nelson sent me a long list of diseases, all caused by thousands of toxic chemicals. We're not just poisoning the planet, we are poisoning ourselves. I traveled back and forth to Wasaga and Sudbury from 1984 to 2006, and too much happened during that period for me to ever get it down in writing. I just pick out the high points and the low points, and what I think is important to my cause and to your life. Some episodes are very funny yet enlightening. September 1999, I met a farmer, and would you believe, he heard me say that his pigs refused to, something about canola oil, and he said his pigs refused to eat canola oil, and he wondered why. We were in a donut shop that was packed with police, and Sergeant Lake had put the cops all on bicycles all summer and taken them out of the cars. Yeah, he did that because of getting to know me and the kind of attitude that I had. And I told him how in a park, especially in Toronto, they're on horseback. But I said, if you put them on bicycles, they can actually stop crime. They can't stop crime sitting in a car. They can't see what's going on that way. Well, by gum, if you didn't put them on bikes. And at first they teased me, they were mad at me, but they weren't really, because you know what? Their wives were really happy. They had lost all that fat, belly fat, and had bodies of Greek idols. They looked fabulous. So getting back to the farmer, he said, gee, I just cannot understand those pigs refusing to eat canola. By golly, they'll eat anything. So I laughed as I was leaving, and I said, of course they won't eat that shit, it's poison. And pigs are smarter than people, you know.